I am totally blown away. I didn't know that illegal immigrants could get CDLs and drive on our highways with 80,000-pound vehicles, just ticking time bombs on the highway and not be able to speak the English language. I'm going to report on this just a little bit, just a trucking update. I've been trying to distance myself from this subject because it's very touchy, but I feel like I need to say something about it. And I think a lot of people are talking about this crash where this man has killed 3 people. My heart goes out to these families. 3 deaths have been caused because of this illegal immigrant who has been driving on our highways with an 80,000-pound machine and cannot speak the English language, who also got his CDL in a very suspicious manner from California. And I'm also hearing Washington was involved as well. Trump's transportation secretary announces investigation into the deadly crash, this Florida crash, and he shares some preliminary findings. And I'll kind of explain a little bit about what happened. I'll read here what they've put on the U.S. Department of Transportation website here. Sean P. Duffy announced the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has launched an investigation into the recent deadly Florida highway crash. The investigation will focus on the driver involved in the crash and the motor carrier White Hawk Carriers, Inc. You need to be put out of business right now, by the way. Preliminary results of the investigation have found when interviewed, the driver did not speak the English language, and both Washington State and New Mexico violated FMCSA rules. Now, this is crazy. I was not going to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole, but now I want to get involved in it and get some word out there. I'm going to read this here. If states had followed the rules, this driver would never have been behind the wheel and 3 precious lives would still be with us. This crash was a preventable tragedy directly caused by reckless decisions and compounded by despicable failures. Non-enforcement and radical immigration policies have turned the trucking industry into a lawless frontier, resulting in unqualified foreign drivers improperly acquiring licenses to operate 40-ton vehicles. This was said by the U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean P. Duffy. We will use every tool at our disposal to hold these states and bad actors accountable. President Trump and I will restore safety to our roads. The families of deceased deserve justice. I am not a political person. I am not pro-Democrat. I am not pro-Republican. I don't get into that. I think that is just a way for them to divide us and cause conflict. And really, I'm about good people and good leadership and good leaders. I'm really not about all of that, but this is despicable. All in the name of winning an election, you have made decisions that are going to harm people's lives on our highways and kill people. You mean to tell me that you are allowing illegal immigrants? And by the way, they're here illegal for a reason. We love people coming here and being immigrants and going through the right process and going through the due diligence and getting approved their citizenship. We're all about that. I respect you, Indian drivers and Mexican drivers and everybody who has come to this country and done things the right way. We are all immigrants. I'm pro-immigrant. I love it. I think it's great. But if you can't speak the English language, that's where I have a problem with it. You know, take pride. If you're wanting to come to somebody else's country and wanting to better yourself, at least learn their language so that you can get your citizenship. If you're doing it the right way, I am so proud and honored to have you in this industry, and we welcome you with warm, loving arms. You know, seriously. The reason they're illegal is because usually somebody comes into another country illegally because they're running from something that they did wrong in the previous country they lived in. They won't have them anymore. So they're leaving to run away from problems and trying to get another start somewhere else. And that's why they come in here illegally, because they are illegal and they've done illegal things. We don't want people who are illegal doing illegal things and breaking laws in other countries and running from other countries to get a new start in this country. We don't want them being able to get driver's licenses and CDLs. I've always thought this whole time illegal immigrants are really paranoid when they're here and they can't get licenses, they can't get CDLs, they can't get government help, they can barely get a job because they might get busted and get deported. And I just thought that's the way it is. But you're telling me that no, that the Democrats in these blue states, in these states that are sanctuary cities, are allowing people to get CDLs and driver's licenses? Shame on you. That is the most despicable thing that I have ever heard of for someone to be able to win an election. Your want and your need for power is so strong that you're willing to sacrifice the American people's lives? This is horrible. Man, the hammer needs to come down. There's a lot of drivers that are in here driving in this country that are in on a H-2B visa. There's supposedly 60,000 drivers that had flooded this market from other countries that are on this visa, and they got really loose on these visas and are allowing a lot of people to get in our trucking industry. So I'll explain what the H-2B visa is, and then I'm gonna come up with one solution that I think they could initiate and enact if they had any common sense whatsoever. So the H-2B visa is a temporary non-agricultural worker visa, most common for truck drivers. This non-immigrant visa allows U.S. employers to hire foreign workers, including truck drivers, for temporary or seasonal roles such as peak freight periods. Typically, they're valid for up to 1 year with possible extensions to a maximum of 3 years, often with a required break outside the U.S. after that. Employers must secure labor certification from the Department of Labor, stating that no qualified U.S. workers are available and that hiring such workers won't harm U.S. wage or working conditions. Once approved, the worker applies for the visa at the U.S. consulate or embassy. You know, this is the legal way of doing it, these visas, but they were just passing out these visas like crazy and flooding our market with drivers. And I'm fine with the visa thing, but if there's 60,000 drivers on the highways with these H-2B visas right now in our driver pool, I think what Trump needs to do, and I think what the U.S. Department of Transportation, Mr. Sean Duffy, needs to do is initiate an all-out blitz. They need to send DOT officers, police officers, state patrolmen to this list of 60,000 drivers' homes and give them an English proficiency test like right now. I'm talking a blitz right now, and find out if they can speak English. And if they fail that test, that may be 30,000 of these 60,000 drivers. They just cut their CDL right there and don't allow them to get in that truck. Don't let them get in the truck. So what you're doing right now is just tightening up on the previous rules and laws that we originally had that they weren't upholding, which is making sure that these drivers can speak the English language when you pull them over or when you stop them at a way station. But that's after the fact. They're already driving. You need to catch these guys before they even get in the truck. You need to do an all-out blitz on everyone who has had an H-2B visa and go to all 60,000 of those drivers' residences, try to find them and give them the English proficiency test and try to prevent them getting into a truck at all whatsoever. So that's something that you can do for 60,000 drivers. Now, what do we do about all the illegal immigrants who are not doing it the proper way that have been issued CDLs in the state of California, in Washington, and some of these sanctuary cities? Where they're on the highway right now. They're driving right now. How are you going to catch them? Okay, truck drivers, you're not going to like this very much, but I suggest you go and get your truck DOT to make sure it is tip top, because if I had common sense and I was Donald Trump, or if I was Sean Duffy, I would initiate an all-out blitz on the highways, pulling over every single truck that they can get their hands on. DOT officers, state highway patrolmen, police officers, you name it. You should be pulling over every single truck on the highway in America right now and giving people English proficiency tests right there on the spot. And to prevent them from getting in a wreck and this happening again. And I'm sorry, truck drivers, you're not going to like that very much, but what's going to happen, and the reason you should appreciate that, is it's going to make our highway safer, and it's also going to get these drivers out of our driver pool that they have flooded the nation with. That's what's causing your freight to go down. That's why you're making less money, because we have been flooded with immigrants, illegal immigrants, legal immigrants, all of it. Like I said, man, I love you. If you guys are in here, if you come to this country, we are all immigrants. We all came here in some way, in some form, in some fashion. And hopefully everyone did it the legal way, you know, but if you're going to do it the legal way. And if you do it the legal way and you learn our language and you play by the rules, man, we love you and we want you here. That's from the bottom of my heart. But all these illegal immigrants that are on the highways, I would like to know the number of how many illegal immigrants are driving 80,000-pound trucks and machines on the highway currently with a CDL and can't speak English. We don't even know what that number is. What is that number? We do know that there's 60,000 people in this country right now that came in on H-2B visas. So you can at least start there because there's a database and you can run to their homes real quick or find them and give them tests to make sure they can't get in that truck. Now, if they pass the test, man, awesome. Good job, man. You're doing it right. Let's keep you on, man. We need you here in this country, making this country better. But if you can't speak the English language, you got to get them out of here. So I'm suggesting an all-out blitz to the 60,000 H-2B visa carriers in this country, and go and make sure that they can speak the English language. You can start there, and then a full all-out blitz here in the United States, pulling trucks over like crazy. And if you know the English language, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If your truck is tip top, you don't have anything to worry about. But you need to go out there and find all these illegal immigrants that are running in our country without CDLs. So those are two ways that they can fix this. And the other way that they can fix this with common sense is just to make sure that they're being very tight on the restrictions of who they give CDLs to right now, currently, and moving forward, making sure that they can, pass these tests and be able to read signs and be safe. We don't need any more deaths, So this guy apparently got his CDL in California. They do talk about Governor Newsom in here quite a bit. And then I also did read that on July the 15th of 2023 in Washington State, they issued the driver a regular full-term commercial CDL. So asylum seekers or individuals without legal status are not eligible for this type of license. And then on July 23rd of 2024, California issued the driver a limited term non-domiciled CDL. FMCSA is investigating the issuance of this license to determine whether it was issued in accordance with federal regulations. Wow. You mean that state is allowing illegal immigrants that can't speak English, who more than likely are wanted in another country, to be able to drive 80,000-pound vehicles and kill people? That's basically what you have done, politicians. And on July 3rd, 2025, the New Mexico State Police conducted a roadside inspection of the driver and issued a speeding ticket, but there's no indication that an ELP assessment was administered. You didn't even give him a test July 25th of 2025. Shame on you. Whoever issued this license in Washington, this CDL in Washington in 2023, you need to go to prison for manslaughter. And July 23rd of 2024, whoever issued him a non-domiciled CDL from California, you need to go to prison as well. So whoever this police officer is that pulled him over and did this roadside inspection and didn't give him a English speaking test, you need to be suspended and let off of work as well. So the secretary has offered the department's full support to Florida officials, and FMCSA's investigation will support the state's ongoing criminal investigation. We're happy that you're initiating audits for the state practices and issuing these CDLs moving forward, but you need a really quick blitz audit going backwards really fast. Because if this just happened and we're just now noticing this is what has brought this to our attention, this is going to keep happening and keep happening and keep happening. You need to go and fix it at the root before they can even get in the truck. Don't. Okay, moving forward, we're going to do this. Moving forward, we're not going to issue CDL. Look, man, you need to go backwards, and you need to pull over everybody and figure out who it is that's on these highways that cannot speak English. But anyways, I'm just blown away about all this. I didn't want to touch this one with the 10-foot pole because of some of the racial stuff and all that, and I didn't want to be looked at as someone who is race baiting or any of that, man. I'm Scotch Irish. I was brought into this, I was born into this beautiful country, and I'm, got a family of immigrants just like everybody else does. So if you're legal and you're doing it the right way, we love you. But if you cannot speak English and you're driving this 80,000-pound vehicle, you need to be taken off the highway. Anyways, my name's Andrew Oliver. Sorry about the rant, but if you like any of this stuff, just follow me and share my stuff if you like. If you don't like it, just keep on scrolling. Have a good day.